Hey everybody, I'm not sure what's going on. Seems to be my Instagram. It's a bad connection. We're not sure. But anyway, welcome to Slow Cooking with Shawn. We're going to go ahead. The show must be going on, so we're going to go on Facebook Live. I'm pretty excited about it today. We're going to be making Shawn's world famous black bean and sweet potato enchiladas. And then my sous chef over here, Jodi, right there, she's going to be making what I like to call her killer sauce. Anyway, let your friends know that we're going to Instagram, which was ASU Mill Advocate, to come on over to Facebook. It's just look for my name, Shawn. Tell everybody that's over on Instagram trying to watch me. For some reason, Instagram's not working. So I'm going to flip my phone around here so we can take a look at all of our different ingredients. Hi, Ashley. How you doing? Hey, Farhat. All right, so we're going to start out here. There's where I'm going to be making the enchiladas. Jodi's killer sauce going to be making right there. And Jodi's standing over here because she's going to get started pretty soon. But here's some of the ingredients that we have. We got garlic powder, cumin, chili, just pepper, cinnamon, oregano. And you got your tomato paste over there, vegetable broth and flour. All right, extra virgin olive oil and apple cider vinegar. Now, Jodi had told me just a little bit ago, we'll swing right back around here, that to make sure to get these all put together first, all your spices, measure them out, right, hon? Mm-hmm. Because why?
The sauce comes together really quickly, so you want to have the spices ready to go. All
right, sounds good. So she's going to get started on that, and I'm going to take you over here. We're going to get just a little bit of oil down in the skillet before we get chopping on our veggies. So today, for this great recipe, we're actually going to be using coconut oil. The reason I do that is because coconut oil is super good with frying up sweet potatoes. If you're in the business of frying up sweet potatoes like I am, I try to do it with coconut oil. So, like I said, let everybody know that went over to Instagram. Instagram's not working on the live. So we're going to start. I actually kind of cheated a little bit today so that we could have time to do this. Starting out with some sweet potatoes. I peeled them already, cleaned them up. I've disinfected everything, so we're ready to go. So first things first, let's get these sweet potatoes chopped up. I do it pretty small, you know, and like I was saying, this is an enchilada base here that we're going to be making. So, you know, depending upon how you like your sweet potatoes, yes, Jess, Jodi is on. I make them really small. That's how I like them, really small, bite-sized. I'd say diced, not the big honking pieces. Big honking pieces don't really go in poured tortillas really well. So we're starting out with these sweet potatoes. As you can see, though, what we're going to be having is we're going to have some corn in there, red bell pepper, we're going to have onion and serrano pepper, some cilantro and lime. Chopping up these sweet potatoes real quick. I want to get these done first, and then we're going to get the onion and the pepper going because we want to get those fried up. I don't know if you tuned in last week when I was doing that Thai curry, but you know from your experience with me that I do not like greasy onions. They got to be crispy, otherwise they don't taste very good. So I got those sweet potatoes. We're going to sweep those off to the side. We're going to hit our onion right here and then our pepper. Now Jodi's also going to make I call it her world famous enchilada, or not enchiladas, her world famous guacamole. Now, if you've ever had this guac, you would think it was restaurant quality. So I'm going to save a little bit of that pepper on the side for Jodi's guacamole. So, how's everybody been doing? You staying healthy? Keeping your hands clean? Wearing a mask? Jodi and I went to Sprouts today to get a few ingredients for our show. And for the first time, we had to wear a mask. So it was pretty hilarious. We're sitting in the car, and we put on our masks. Well, I guess they were bandanas. It looked like we're going to go rob a stagecoach. And then we went into Sprouts, and we didn't rob anything. But it was pretty funny. We did take a picture and get it out there. If anybody's watching that thought they were going to be watching on Instagram, please let people know that Instagram Live wasn't working. So we just moved the feed over here to Facebook. So if you have an Instagram, if you could just share that out for me, so the people that need to see this can see it. All right, so we got the onions going here. I'm gonna go put those over in the skillet. We're gonna have this serrano pepper. Now, remember what I told you last week. You can use the seeds or you cannot use the seeds. Jodi and I like it kind of spicy, so we like to use the seeds. Some people are like, no way, Jose, we don't do that. So, but either way, dice them up really small. Nobody, even people that like to eat peppers, usually don't like a big honking piece of pepper popping up. Kind of ruins the texture of the food. So dice them up real small. It's good to see everybody. I'm not gonna cry. I already did the onion, so I'm good. So I'm gonna take this serrano. You can kind of see the seeds there. I'm gonna put that over here in the skillet. All right. So in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to get this red bell pepper chopped up. Put those peppers over there for Jodi's guacamole. A lot of people don't like to chop bell peppers. You know what? I didn't when I first started out cooking. It was kind of a pain in the butt, all the seeds and doing all those things. You can see here, cut off both ends, and then I just slice towards the middle, missing the core. And then see, this is what you have left over. It's kind of like corn and apple, and then you just toss that in the trash. Or your composter, if you're super duper hipster, like my friend Jamin and Jessica who are watching here. They have their own composter in their backyard. I don't know if I know anybody else that has a composter. Hey, if people are having any kind of crazy things happening to them in the quarantine, why don't you put those there in the comments? We'd love to see what's going on with everybody in their life. We can be praying for you. I know that we had talked about that last week, and we did. We prayed for a lot of different people. Jodi and I did, I know, and we're hoping to hear of any answered prayer out there. So some of you are like, praying? What are you talking about, Shawn? Well, you know, I am the military advocate at the Pat Tillman Veteran Center, but my Batman job is pastor. So at nights and weekends and on Saturdays, even when I'm cooking, I'm a pastor. So that's my Batman job. You didn't know it this whole time, but I'm actually Batman, and Jodi's Catwoman, and she digs me. So anyway, moving along here. Let's go check out and see what's going on here. You can see the onions, the peppers. They're right now just caramelizing. You can see that going on. I'm digging it. And Jodi's sauce is coming along right there. Now this enchilada sauce is unlike any enchilada sauce anybody has ever tasted. Like the first time that I ate it, I couldn't believe it was enchilada sauce. There's enchilada sauces sometimes are a little bit bitter. People don't really like enchilada sauce. This enchilada sauce that Jodi makes, this killer sauce, is kind of sweet to the taste. So when you're making it, and I hope that you're making this along with me. It's a lot of fun to be able to do that. I'm going to put these peppers over here in the skillet. Right there like that. This is a pretty quick meal, really. I did cheat a little bit. I told you when we were trying to advertise this, I was telling you that if you like more protein within your dish, you can go ahead and put a roast beef in the crock pot or in the oven on low, and then we're going to actually add. So some of them will just be vegetarian, really almost a vegan option until you put the feta cheese on at the end. And then we're going to have some with roast beef in it. I'm going to take this over here. Yeah, Jamin, I should turn that on, shouldn't I? I can. All right. So let's take a look, see what we got so far. You see the veggies coming together really nice. The color is great here. You have the sweet potatoes, the orange, and then you have the red bell pepper. You got the onions. And then over here you see Jodi's sauce is coming alive. Pretty excited about this. Jodi, are you camera shy? Somebody wanted to know. She doesn't really like to be on the camera.
No. I'm here.
She's here though. All right. So while we're kind of letting that cook away a little bit, we're going to take out some cilantro. Now, cilantro is twofold in this recipe. Chop it up, cook it with everything. So it kind of gives it that, I don't know if I'd call it a woody taste, but enchiladas kind of have that anyway. And with this sauce, it works really well. So you chop up this cilantro, just part of it, and you're going to put it in there and actually cook it with it. And then at the end, when you take it out of the oven, you can garnish it with cilantro as well. But we love cilantro in this house. Remember what I said last week? Don't worry about picking all the little leaves off of the cilantro. It takes forever. It just doesn't work. So use some of the stems. Chop it up really finely. You can eat those things. Trust me. All right. So you notice I got it chopped up pretty well here. We're going to go get this over here into the skillet. Now, you might add just a little bit more coconut oil in the midst of it. All right, let's take a look, see what we got so far now. Now you can tell that the colors here are, I don't know, they're amazing. So when you put these in these tortillas, you put them in the oven. I don't know if there's a better enchilada. Is there a better enchilada that we've found? No. I'm gonna set this right here. Hang out here at the stove with this. Putting this here, a little garlic. We love garlic in our house. If there's ever really any vampires, they would never come to the Bonzoff because we eat more garlic than most normal people. Hi, Courtney. Most normal people don't eat as much garlic as the Bonzoff, so we really have never had to worry about, vampires. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, along with this, I've already taken the liberty to drain these beans, the black beans, and Jodi's rinsed them for me here. Put those in the strainer. I'm going to add those in here and let this all kind of cook together. Get all the taste wrapped up. And remember what we're doing here is we're doing slow cooking. Even though this might come off as fast, it's not microwave fast, right? It's taking some time. We're cooking this and we're talking. And Jodi and I, we like to do this in the kitchen together. You might think that this is just a show right here, but actually when we're making the enchiladas, babe, we do it like this every time, don't we?
We do.
Like I'm chopping all the veggies and I'm putting them all in here, and then she's just whisking away trying to get this bomb sauce ready to go over top of it. If we're coughing at all, we don't have the coronavirus. It's just the peppers and the onions, and I didn't want to turn on the fan so you can hear us. So, all right. Cooking this away right here. So what do you think? You think it looks pretty delicious so far? That's good because it is. Now we're going to take a little bit of corn. Now, I am from Nebraska, so my roots are in corn. I detasseled, I irrigated, I did everything when I was a kid to make sure that corn would end up like this. So I put a little extra corn. Jodi, she doesn't like as much corn. No, she's from South Dakota, and they had wheat up there. So, I don't know what's wrong with them. But If you're a Nebraskan person like me, you're going to probably use a little extra corn. You don't have to. I'd like to tell you that I know exactly how much I just put in, but I don't. So it's going to look like this. When I'm cooking, it's really more about, does it look right? And then does it taste right? All right. Now, go Big Red. All right. You see right over here, we kind of have this prepped for our guacamole. I'm pretty excited about launching into these chips. These are the ingredients really for the guac. Right here, it's a pretty simple recipe. You can see them all right there. And I'm gonna dice up this onion while Jodi's working on her bomb sauce over there. So, hi Jama, love you too. All right. Now some recipes for guac, they call for white onions. Some call for purple, red. We like this kind. We've really made this recipe small because we're only doing one avocado. And why is that? You're asking why, Shawn, if you love guacamole so much. Because I love guacamole so much. And so does Jodi. And it's like kind of a kryptonite for us. We'll sit and eat a whole bag of chips and a whole bucket of guacamole. Don't get us started is what I'm trying to say. So we're really trying hard not to gain the COVID-15 while we're stuck in our house. And so what better way to do that than to limit when you're cooking? We haven't been going out to eat. I know some people are, and that's great. And I want you to continue to do that. Support your local merchants. That's really awesome. But most of the time, we like our food better. So that's what we end up doing anyway. And you can kind of control what goes into your food. Your local restaurants, they might put some things in there that honestly aren't that healthy. So we cook it all ourselves usually. Now you notice I have a lot of onion here. I'm not going to be using all this onion. Jodi would be happy if I used all this onion, but I'm not gonna, see, because I don't like onion. This is actually not going to be cooked onion, which is even worse. But for some reason, the side of this delicious guacamole, I dig it. I never even had guacamole until I was in Iraq, actually. I know that sounds odd, but I was in Iraq and I was sharing a room. Well, I call it a room, but it was just a can. Jeffrey, I can't believe you just put that up here on my Facebook. ASU 19, Nebraska 0. We were just talking about this in our neighborhood the other night. That every year I get to hear about how ASU beat the Huskers. Anyway, so, okay. Guacamole. The first time I had guacamole was in Iraq. And one of the guys I was rooming with, his wife actually sent him over some kind of guacamole mix or something. And we had and some salsa, we put it together, and we had homemade guacamole, if you will. And it was actually pretty good. Then I came home and Jodi, she actually showed me the deliciousness of guacamole after that. But so you notice here, I'll just kind of let you see how the onions turned out right there. Nice. So we'll have the peppers and the onions. They'll go together. I'll probably end up cutting these up, dicing them up even more. They're just better that way in guac. So I wanted to talk to everybody today. I brought up Iraq, and that was kind of on purpose. And so today I've been thinking a lot about taking things for granted and what it means in this time in our world. And I think a lot of you probably are a little bit scared for your life. You see it on the television every day. You're probably super worried. Somebody in your family going to war. It's kind of the same thing. Every time that we've went out out of our house, I kept thinking about how it's just like going outside the wire when I was in Iraq, and how every time we went outside the wire, we thought we might lose our life. And I remember the night in February when we lost one of our troops, Randy Matheny. He was killed in action by an IED outside of Baghdad. They'd come in and they told me, because he was one of my troops, I was one of the squad leaders in 3rd Platoon, and they had been engaged by the enemy outside of Baghdad on one of the roads, and they came in and said, "Hey, Sarge, bad news, we lost one of our troops." And, it almost seemed surreal. It was like time stood still. We had already been attacked prior to this, but nobody had lost their life, and even the injuries that we had sustained, they weren't as bad as what we all thought war would be. But not that we weren't still scared, because we were. So this was in February of 2007, and Randy Matheny was killed in action by an improvised explosive device. And after we all got together, we cried. Soldiers cry. I cried. But I was thinking about this today because it helped me remember my perspective. So every time I leave my house and I'm worried about the virus, I'm worried about all these different things, I start thinking about, what haven't I got straight in my life right now? What's going on in my life that I haven't straightened up? And I remember a bunch of us went back to we called them our cans in Iraq, and we made videos for our loved ones, because we had never really thought about what it would be for them had we died in combat. So we had laptops, so I made a video to my wife and to my kids saying that I love them, that if they're watching this video without me, that means that I had given my life in combat. And I'll tell you what, to really come to terms with, I could die. It was difficult. But I started thinking about, who haven't I made amends with in my life? Like, if I died today, who haven't I made amends with? And I was thinking about our country and how screwed up things are, and how so many people hold so many things against one another. And it's just this sad, sad state of affairs, really. And if today is the last day for one of us, what are we doing about that? Like, are we making some decisions to reconcile with some people? Like your parents, maybe. Maybe you don't get along with them, a brother or sister. Maybe it's your kids. Have you sat down and said, "Hey, what can I do to reconcile with my loved ones?" What about your neighbor? I don't know. We have neighbors, and sometimes you don't get along with your neighbors, and so what do you do about that? And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I can tell you that it's worth it. And I guess I would encourage you, as you're watching the world go the way the world is going, and you're starting to see yourself and maybe get a little bit worried and a little bit scared and a little bit tense. It takes so much stress off your shoulders. It takes so much stress out of your mind if you're reconciled with the people closest to you. Like just knowing that Jodi is here for me, that's part of the reason we're doing this tonight together. Because I know that she's here I call her my quarantine buddy, and we do things together. We don't always get along, huh, babe? No. Well, she was pretty quick to say that, wasn't she? But anyway, we don't always get along, but we know that we have one another, and so it helps us determine to drive on, to move on, to go forward, to go out to Sprouts, to put the bandana on, to go and risk our lives, if you will, just to get some cilantro, because we know that we're okay. Like I'm okay. I know that I'm okay with God. Do you know you're okay with God? Those are important things to ask yourself. I know that I ask myself that all the time in Iraq. Am I on the right side of the Lord, if you will? And I feel like I wasn't always, but I tried to walk myself back into that place where, okay, if today's my last day, am I okay? If today's my last day, are my kids and my wife and my relationships? Have I reconciled those things? And I just would encourage you. I'm not saying today is your last day, so don't get me wrong. You know, don't say, man, I tuned into this to watch some enchiladas being cooked, and now he's off the deep end, because I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that I am off the deep end. I feel like I'm actually right on point, if you will, tonight. So back to our cooking, just for a couple of minutes. Jodi, she's been my sous chef. She's rocking those enches, getting those really close. Now, in my recipe, you can use either corn tortillas, you can use flour tortillas. For some healthier options, we know we found some of these coconut wraps. Jodi and I tonight are actually going to be using corn tortillas. So best way to use corn tortillas, if you've ever seen these in these packages, they're kind of brittle, kind of tough. So I learned this actually from a lady from Nicaragua. Nelly was her name. And I used to work with her in a packing house, and she used to come. We worked the night shift, and we would all bring our food, and she would always bring like this stack of tortillas in this plastic baggie, right? And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool, right? Well, she would always put them in the microwave, and I wondered why. What's great is it softens them up and makes them pliable and perfect for putting together enchiladas. So I'm going to put these in the microwave. Just let them cook. About 30 seconds. The insides are getting really close for our enchiladas. I'm really glad to see people tuned in tonight. All right, so I'm gonna come tracking back over here. Jodi's got the avocado. Make sure that you get a good ripe avocado. Otherwise, the guacamole isn't quite as delicious as it could be. This is kind of a middle of the road. I mean, beggars can't be choosers during a pandemic. If you can get an avocado, get an avocado is what we're trying to say. So she's mashing that up. You don't want to puree it, just mash it up so the chunks are small. And then she's going to put in, you see the peppers and the onions that I chopped up real well, some sea salt, and we're going to squeeze that lime. So I'm actually going to take a couple of limes back over here because I need to put some inside the insides of this delicious enchiladas. So take your lime, cut it in half, just squeeze it over the top. Can you smell the citrus coming through the phone? I wish actually that you could scratch and sniff and smell these delicious enchiladas right now. I'm actually going to shut them off, let you see everything. There's Jodi's killer sauce right there. It's ready to go over top of these enchiladas. We actually made a little bit more than what we're going to need. And we're going to come back over here, and I told you a little surprise. I cooked a roast beef during the day. I've already kind of shredded it up. And I cooked that and some 505 green hatch chili. So you put the roast beef in the crock pot. This is the slow cook portion. Then you just pour in the 505 and just let it cook. And by the time you're ready to put this on your enchiladas, it's ready to rock and roll. So we have the tortillas. I already have our pan kind of put together right there, you see. You notice the tortillas. You see how they're pliable. Just microwave those in a plastic baggie. Listen, Jodi doesn't like that I use plastic. She doesn't like it that I use paper towels. It's not very sustainable. It's not very green. You can't really recycle. Recycle. Save the world. I probably won't, but I'll allow you to do it. I'm proud of you for doing it. So I'm going to go get the insides real quick. Jodi already did that. She's a sweetheart. Look at that. All right. So, and it's just as simple as putting these together, just like that. Kind of get a little bit of the stuff on the inside, roll them up, just like that. And you're going to place them in the pan. I think you can see those. So we're going to do that a few times. Do they look delicious, or is it just me because I'm standing over top of it? It's a pretty easy recipe. I know most of you have been cooking for quite a while probably, but you just never thought about what can I do with the black beans and the sweet potatoes I have and the corn. Well, man, you can make some of the best enchiladas that you'll ever have just by throwing these things together. A lot of us have things in our pantries. They've probably been there too long that we should have been cooking, but we didn't. So this could be a way maybe to do that. Now, I'm going to make a couple of meat. Now, what you really have here, when you have it put together, is carne asada. And you can see that right there, this deliciousness. I'm going to wrap those up. Jodi's already hitting it. Can hear her munching down right now on her guacamole. A little bit more meat in this one. So we ended up making just right now 6 small enchiladas just to feed Jodi and I. Then you just take the sauce and you pour it over the top. We love feta cheese. Feta cheese is the way to go on these in particular. So I'm going to flip this around so you can see how we're rocking. I throw that on top here, just like that. And then you throw them in the oven for about, 20 minutes. 20 minutes really. All that does, and I put that at 400 for about 20 minutes. Just melts the feta cheese. You can see them down there. If I flip that around, you got them put in there. Enchiladas, black bean, sweet potato, little carne asada. Let's show this beautiful guacamole right here. And we've been live, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes, and we have this meal right here. And I'm going to try this. Perfecto. Oh, the coriander?
I forgot coriander.
Forgot to tell you, coriander also goes in there. That's got a little kick to it, which we love around here. So, just to finish off a little bit about what I was saying before you get off, part of what was really on my heart tonight was this too. Was you know that Jodi and I, we have 2 kids, Zach and Jenna. Jenna, her husband is African American. His name is Javaris. And they have our grandson, whose name is Jade. And then our daughter-in-law, Zach's wife, is Mexican American. And then they have our grandson, who is Oliver. So both of them have kids. Both of them are married in mixed race relationships. And what we found in the past couple of years is that maybe for the first time in our lives, we begin to realize that actually this world is a lot more prejudiced and a lot more racist, and I myself am a lot more than what I had anticipated I was. Does that mean that I'm going around and I've put, some burning crosses in people's yards? No. but it does mean that there's been a time in my life that I wasn't seeing things clearly. But once you begin to have somebody in your life that is close to you, you begin to see things a little bit differently. And I thought, what if, Shawn, during Slow Cooking with Shawn, you challenge people during this pandemic where all Americans are all Americans, like we are all just one people, one country. What if we can begin to make a difference and start to change the relationship between blacks and whites and browns and whites and all people of color and white people? What if we could begin to make a change? What if you could reach across the aisle, if you will, to a Democrat or a Republican or somebody that's not like you and begin to actually reconcile? Like, what if we could begin to reconcile during this time? A lot of times when there's a lull, like I used to work fast food, and when nobody was there, we called it a lull. And during the lull, you worked really hard to get ready for the next rush. What if right now we're in a lull in our society and in our world? And during this lull, what if we worked really hard to get ready and be a better country, to be a better person, to be a better world? What if we begin to love our neighbor, actually love them like we love ourselves? What if that's what this whole thing's about? What if we have this time to actually not take for granted all the things that we've taken for granted before? What if this is the time where you reconcile with your wife or with your husband? You know, you guys been fighting maybe. Maybe you need to say you're sorry. I challenged our group of legacy people. This it's a small group that Jodi and I lead. I challenged them, believe it or not, to say they were sorry. And when I say legacy, these are our older people in our church. So anywhere from Jodi and my age all the way up to in their 70s and 80s. It's hard to say you're sorry. It's like difficult to say you're sorry. Try it. I mean, start there. Just start there. If you've hurt somebody, just say, I'm sorry. I know today Jodi and I kind of got an argument. Where'd you go? We got an argument today, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I needed to say that I was sorry. And then Jodi said she was sorry. And guess what? Here we are working together, reconciled, so that we can bring you this message. But anyway, thanks for watching us tonight. We hope that you learned how to make enchiladas, but we hope more so that you learned a good lesson today about, not taking things for granted and reconciling, and getting things squared. So anyway, thanks for watching Slow Cooking with Shawn. We love you guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week, Saturday, 4 o'clock. I'm hopefully going to go on Instagram Live if it works, and if not, we'll be back here on Facebook Live. Be on the lookout. Next week, we're making a Nebraska favorite called Runza. It's a Runza week next Saturday, and Jodi and I will work together to make those 4 o'clock next Saturday. All right, love you guys. Take care. God bless.